Hey working mom, welcome to Order Meets Style. I'm Zizi Man, professional organizer with Firefly Bridge Organizing. I'm here to provide you with simple tips and ideas to organize your home so that you can love the way your home looks and functions, and so you're proud to invite anyone over anytime without stressing out about clutter. Ready for a beautifully organized home that makes you smile every time you walk in? Well, let's make it happen. Hello again. Welcome to the show. This is the final episode in the Make Summer Easy series, and we're going to be talking about some quick tips to make meal planning easier this summer. And just as a reminder, in our Make Summer Easy series, we've covered how to make summer outings easier. That was episode 7. We also had an episode about at-home activities that you can set up for the kids this summer to keep them both engaged and entertained, which was episode 8. And episode 9 was all about having a summer-friendly laundry routine. And so with this series, we're tackling some of the biggest headaches you're probably facing during the summer months with the kids being out of school and on their summer break. I continue to hear from you, working moms, that meals in the summer is one of those headaches. As a sustainable organizer, you know that I'm going to share ways that you can save resources. Well, when you plan your meals for the week, you can save time, of course, because you'll always know the answer to what's for dinner every single night. And you can also save money by not overbuying or having to spend a lot on takeout meals if you plan ahead. And while I'm going to give you some tips about making meal decisions at home, your meal prep could, of course, include something like a meal prep service. You know, the ones where you order your menu online and they deliver the raw ingredients to your door and they give you directions about how to cook it and you cook it yourself. You can also use meal planning apps if you like, and choosing to get takeout is also part of meal planning. So all of those things can be a part of your weekly plan. In this episode, though, the tips that I'm sharing with you are mostly about how to make those meals that you're preparing at home easier this summer, okay? So let's jump into it. If you've been meal planning for a while, you're maybe looking for ways to simplify the whole process. And if you're fairly new to meal planning, then simplicity is what you should aim for from the beginning. And one of the biggest reasons people stop meal planning is that they just make it too complicated. So as we start, make a deal with yourself that even though this is summer and you might think that you have a bit more time and you're super motivated to really try new recipes and cook from scratch more often, make a deal with yourself that you're going to start slow. And if you can't stick with the plan that you've created, well, you'll just reevaluate it to see if you made it a little too involved and you just take a step back. Not give up on meal planning altogether, but just take a little step back. Okay, so here's what I suggest. And today I've got 8 tips for you to make meal planning easier. The first tip is to create your meal plan on a Friday. Give yourself the weekend to get things in motion and to prep your ingredients. If you've been in my world for a while, you know that I prefer planning the week on Friday afternoon. I find that Sunday is just too late and too stressful to plan for the week, right? I'm trying to do everything at the last minute, it feels like. And that includes planning what we're going to do for dinner each night of the week. So make your simple meal plan on Friday, and then you have the weekend to start testing it out and definitely to start prepping your ingredients. And we'll get to ingredient prep in a little bit. Tip number 2 is to choose a few go-to proteins for the week. Simplicity in summer is the key to making meal prep easy, okay? So you start by just choosing some proteins. So let's say that for next week, you see that chicken is on sale at your store. So you choose chicken as one main protein and then choose 2 others, let's say a fish and some chorizo. Now you can decide on some recipes that you can use each of those proteins in. Tip 3 is to limit the number of new recipes that you try each week. You might feel like you need a new recipe for each night of the week, but that can be overwhelming to start with. So keep it simple. Last year, we spoke to nutritionist Dina Garcia here in Miami, and she has this great suggestion that I love. She calls it 3-2-1 meal planning. Dina says to choose recipes for 3 dinners, 2 lunches, and 1 breakfast as you plan your weekly meals. And once you have those, you can fill in the rest of your meals with either leftovers, sandwiches, salads, takeout, or going out to eat. An easy way to make this happen is to have a couple of standard recipes that you know how to cook by heart. So, for example, I know that I can roast split chicken breasts with the skin on in the oven in less than an hour, right? So I brush on the olive oil on the chicken, I add salt and pepper, and I roast them at 375 Fahrenheit for about 40 minutes or until the internal temperature of the chicken is at least 160 degrees. Then I remove the skins, I chop up the chicken, and I can use that chicken in multiple recipes during the week. Or I just keep some of the chicken for making chicken sandwiches, at the last minute. And you know that the one breakfast that I plan for are my protein pancakes with chocolate chips. I make a huge batch on the weekend, and it lasts us maybe 3 weeks, sometimes maybe even more in the freezer. So, multiple pancake breakfasts are easy for us. So having just a couple of recipes like that in your back pocket can make your entire week of meals so much easier using this 3-2-1 meal plan. And tip 4 is that to continue with the keeping things simple theme, try having meal themes to keep yourself from getting overwhelmed with thinking of new things to try each week. In my house, we know that one weekend night is pizza night. So that's one night already planned for. Now, the type of pizza that we choose to get could vary from one week to the other. Taco Tuesday is another good theme. And think about it. One week you can do fish tacos with flour tortillas and a crisp cabbage salad. And the next week it could be ground turkey tacos with corn tortillas. And the following week you can do traditional Mexican steak street tacos, right? So your theme keeps things simple because you already know that every Tuesday it's going to be taco night, but you're changing up the ingredients and the recipe if you want to keep it from getting boring, right? So other theme ideas may be Italian pasta. You can choose Italian pastas with red sauce or with white clam sauce or just with veggies and some Parmesan cheese. You could do a pasta bake like a lasagna or a baked ziti. I mean, there's so many Italian pasta options to rotate through. And what about stir fries? When we were in high school, my mom created something that she still calls her concoction, and we still do it ourselves. And she does it with ramen noodles. She didn't use the seasoning packets, but instead she made sort of a chicken stir fry with chicken and vegetables, onion and garlic, and mixed that into cooked ramen noodles and some soy sauce and fresh herbs. That was a super fast weeknight dinner for us. But stir fries are great with or without meat, and you can choose to serve them with noodles or riced cauliflower even. Mediterranean is also a great theme for summer meals, and you can think of it as a mini Mediterranean buffet, which my in-laws sometimes do when all of the kids and grandkids visit at the same time. It's a selection of Mediterranean staples. Think of things like hummus, olives, pickled vegetables, a little bit of cheese. But then you can add in a chopped salad with seasonal vegetables, add a little bit of grilled fish or lamb, or just a 3-bean salad or falafel, along with pita bread, of course. But each time you pull a buffet like that together, it's a little bit different based on the vegetables that are in season and the proteins or the type of cheese that you choose to add. So you get the idea. Again, you don't have to have a home-cooked from scratch meal every night of the week if that doesn't fit into your life. You pick your 3-2-1 meals, 3 dinners, 2 lunches, and 1 breakfast that you can really plan for and have a recipe prepared for and buy the specific ingredients for. Which leads to tip number 5, which is to have a good set of staples in your pantry and in your fridge at all times. So the staples are what you would use to fill in the gaps in your weekly meals, right? They're also what you'll use as a plan B in case something happens on the night that you had planned a meal for. Let's say you had to work late or someone is sick and you just don't have enough time to cook that recipe. You know what your family will tend to eat as a backup. So in general, you want to have some quick grains available like rice, pasta, ramen noodles, rice noodles, oats, barley. Have some canned goods in your pantry, things like tuna, beans, some canned vegetables and canned tomatoes. And then what I call snacking vegetables and fruits. So carrots, celery, little grape tomatoes, grapes, apples, bananas, that type of thing. Dairy staples like eggs, cheeses, and yogurt, those are pretty necessary if you eat those. And staple herbs like green onions, parsley, and cilantro, all of which you can wash, allow them to dry a bit, chop them and freeze them so you can have herbs all the time. Tip 6, I already mentioned, is to make leftovers a part of your summer meal plan. Plan it out. Make a bit extra of each meal that you cook so you can have leftovers later. Now, I can eat the same thing for lunch 3 days in a row, but not everyone in my family can do that. So while there are leftovers, you can be creative with how you serve them. If there was a leftover stir fry, maybe I would put that into a wrap with a tiny bit of herbed mayo just to change it up a little bit without cooking a whole new meal. With leftover pasta, you can just add a new salad on the side to change it up slightly, or simply spread your leftover usage out over the week so you don't have to eat the same thing on consecutive days. Okay, so now you've created your meal plan, you have your 3-2-1 meals written down, and you need to create your shopping list, which is tip number 7. Take a look at the meals you've planned, pull out the recipes you plan to use, and group your ingredients by type, like where they're located in the grocery store. So, all your fresh produce and herbs would be grouped together, your spices are grouped together, your meats together, and so on. And then you need to open your fridge, your freezer, and your pantry to see what you already have in there so you're not buying duplicates. And all you have to do is cross off the ingredients that you already have at home, except for the pantry and fridge staples, because you do want to replace those as you use them up. So decide if you have enough to scratch eggs off your list, for instance, or if you need to buy another carton just to have some on hand still after you've made the meal that you're planning. So you'll get your groceries based on your shopping list, but when you get home, you can get a head start and also alleviate the weeknight fatigue by prepping as many ingredients as possible. Because you know how it goes. You have every intention of making something for dinner, but there's just not enough time to get the onions, the cauliflower, and the sweet potatoes chopped and cooked. So then you might fall back on something else, which is fine. But then before you know it, the cauliflower has started to go bad. So tip number 8, the last tip, is to prevent food waste and to get your ingredients prepped by having an ingredient prep party. Cooking can be lonely work sometimes, yeah? But if you get the entire family involved, it can be really fun and rewarding. And not to mention, it can take a whole lot less time. So give everyone a station and a job. For the youngest kids, they can wash the fruit and veggies in the sink. Have a little bench set up in front of the sink and give them the vegetable brush. Older kids and adults can do anything from peeling and chopping herbs and vegetables to cleaning, cutting, and marinating meats. Take an hour to have an ingredient prep party on a Saturday morning and put everything into the fridge and freezer, and your weekday evenings will run so much more smoothly. All right, so let's recap my 8 tips for a stress-free kitchen this summer with meal planning. 1, you're going to do meal planning on Friday so that you have the entire weekend to get set up and do some prepping. 2, choose your go-to proteins for the week. I find that when I do this first, I can easily create a plan around those proteins, and I can be as creative or as simple as I want based on how the week looks for us. 3, limit the number of new recipes that you try each week so you don't get overwhelmed and tempted to quit meal planning altogether. 4, use some themes that you can repeat each week while changing up the ingredients each time to keep it interesting. Things like Taco Tuesday or Pizza Friday. 5, keep a good set of staples in your fridge, freezer, and pantry so that you always have a simple backup to go to. 6, make leftovers a regular part of your weekly plan by planning to cook a bit extra. 7, create your shopping list by grouping ingredients together by where they're found in the store and double checking what you already have at home so you don't overbuy. And 8, have an ingredient prep party on the weekend to wash, chop, marinate so that you have less to do on the weeknights. Well, I really hope you've enjoyed the Make Summer Easy series, and let me know which episode you've enjoyed, or which tip you've put into practice. And thank you so much for listening today. Have a wonderful day, and I'll meet you here again next week.